Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Well, Huskers will be taking the field for fall camp before you know it, and so we continue our position breakdowns with the football assistant coaches and talking the D-line with Terrance Knighton, one of my favorite groups, favorite huddles. Death Row, yes. One of my favorite huddles to listen into on the sideline. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Well, again, just what progress. Think about the storylines, and we've talked a lot about that from where we were a year ago to where we are now with in terms of depth and the group that you've been able to build. But how do you evaluate just this group and how they were able to come along from where we're talking about a year ago now to where we are now?
Honestly, I'm just happy with the leadership that's taking place in the room and, having real seniors, Jamari Butler, Nash, Ty, Elijah, Judy, those older guys, they're starting to take, ownership of the room, and it's making my job a lot easier. So, we could just focus on football, and those guys understand the culture, and they push that in the locker room, they push that in the community, and, I love having those guys leading the way.
Death Row, tell us about that.
Death Row, it's a name that we picked up. It's a name that the guys enjoy. We have a secret handshake. We take a lot of pride in it, and, as close as we are as a group, and we do a lot of things together off the field, those guys enjoy it, and it gives us the personality. And I feel like every D-line should have a nickname, so those guys love it, they enjoy it, but they take it very serious, by the way.
Oh, I love that. Every guy that I've talked to that's in your room has talked about how you're so good about getting to know them, and they're so different. You got a lot of different guys in that, but how important is that to figuring out how to make these guys tick and get the best out of them?
I think the easiest way is just allow them to be themselves, and then just figure out as a coach how to make them cohesive as a group. And not only am I taking the time to know them personally, I challenge them to know each other personally, and we do something every camp, and we'll do it, and I hope it continues, where guys will get up in front of the room and talk about their story, where they come from, and, guys figure out they have things in common, they're similar in certain ways, and, it just brings the group together. And I think the main thing is, just allowing those guys to be themselves. They enjoy being in the building, they enjoy being around each other. The D-line room, it's like our man cave, they enjoy being in there, and it's just bringing the group together, and it allows us to play well.
Okay, let's dive in and talk about some of your guys. Got to start with Nash Hutmaker, but before we talk about football, you seem to be Nebraska wrestling's #1 fan over the past few months. How much fun was that to see him go and take the wrestling mat?
Well, for one, it was nerve-wracking because I wanted him to be successful. I wanted him to win. I've never been to a wrestling match before, and just knowing the time that he took off and then jumping right into it, and the Big Ten being the best wrestling conference, I was kind of nervous, and but I was just happy for him to go out there, and it's something he loves to do, and he's changed his body tremendously, and it's just I'm just excited for him. I was excited, that he was able to go out there and be successful, and shake the rust off a little bit, and compete on the national level, and it's something I'm pretty sure that he's been itching to do when he finally got to do it.
So you're saying it was a different feeling sitting up there and watching him compete in a different sport?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not nervous coaching, but sitting up there, it felt like being a parent, you know what I mean? And just, watching your son out there compete and hoping the best for him. And, he did a tremendous job, and I'm so happy for him. And, hats off to the wrestling coaches. They did a great job with him. And, we're in constant communication about his progress, his weight, his strength, his flexibility, all those things. And, they did an excellent job.
The changes to his body and the dropping of the weight, what is that going to do for him? Why did you guys think that would be a good thing for him to do?
Well, Nash, he's I would say he's a unicorn because he was a 335-pound guy, can sack the quarterback and stop the run, those type of things. But, losing the 20, 25 pounds that he's lost is going to allow him to be more dynamic, line up on different spots, not just going to be a stationary guy at nose. And it's going to add to his versatility when he's playing on Sunday. So it's building his profile as an athlete. It's building his profile as a future professional. And, I'm just excited with all the progress that he's made. And, he's a true professional on and off the field. He's taking care of his body. He's doing the right things. He has his life together, never a guy you have to worry about. First guy in, last guy out type of guy, and I'm just looking forward to him having a big year.
Guy that's played a lot of football alongside him, Ty Robinson, when he announces he wants to come back and be a part of this, I felt like he had unfinished business. What did that mean to you? How excited were you when Big Ty said he's coming back?
I was very excited. I didn't know what he was going to do. He's the old man of the group now, and they call him that. But he's played a lot of football, and me and him have built a great relationship, and he sees the game a different way now. And, he's just working on the things that he needs to work on, obviously, for the next level, but he wants to win. He wants to win. He wants to leave his mark here. Last year didn't go the way we wanted it to go, win-loss-wise, and, that was the main thing for him. So it was more so about the program than it was for Ty Robinson, because he could have easily left and been drafted, but, it was more about doing it the right way, and he wanted to make his mark on this program, and, that's what's motivating him this year.
There were a lot of guys in that group that could have, I guess, left but wanted to come back because they felt like they were doing something special. As a coaching staff, I know you guys believe in what you're doing, but when the players start to believe in it and want to come back and be a part of that, that's going to mean a lot to you guys knowing that, hey, they're buying in and they want to come back and be a part of it.
Right, and this is a special place, and the kids that come here are special kids, and the community that we have, the program history that we have, the winning that happened in the past, these kids come here with the hopes of being a part of that and creating their own mark. And, the Isaac Giffords and, the Ty Robinsons, those guys coming back definitely made an impression on the young guys. And, it's a certain type of kid is going to be successful here. And those guys are going to lead the way, and they're definitely setting a great example.
Okay, Jamari Butler, he told me that he really felt like he's starting to play his best football there at the end of the season last year. What did you see start to click for him that really allowed him to really, I guess, let loose out there? Right,
because he's a great athlete, and he's very smart. So when we first got here, he was playing linebacker, playing outside linebacker, and, one day in the run period, he dominated the guy, and I was like, this guy can play D-line. And he's rugged enough and tough enough to do it, and he's a guy who's changed his body this offseason, put on 25 pounds of muscle. He looks like a D lineman now, doesn't look like a linebacker. And like I say, he's a very smart player. He sees the game well and moves slow for him. And, towards the end of the year, he became one of our better players. And, he'll be a guy that we depend on this year as well. And I expect him to take a big step and be one of the better players in this conference.
Not just what he does, playing-wise, but his leadership. It seems like that's been important to him, too, to become a bigger leader, not just in your room, but for this entire football team.
Right, and those three guys, Nash, Ty, and Jamari, are all different, and they all have different forms of leadership, where Jamari is kind of more the vocal guy on a day-in, day-out basis. Ty is more the vocal guy, like, on the field, and Nash is just follow me, just do what I do, and it's a dynamic combination, but Jamari is just one of those guys that he has a huge impact on the team. He has a huge impact on other position groups. Like I see him hanging with wide receivers and running backs. So he's just a great all-around leader, and he's well-liked, off the field and, carries on to the field. And now that he's a guy that, during the break didn't leave, worked out every day, stayed here, was with Kristen and her staff, make sure he's doing the right thing. So his mind is right, and the guys like to follow him, and it's definitely going to help our group.
It's got to be nice as a coach to have those three players, caliber of those three players and leaders returning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like now when something happens or, someone is late or I just say Nash, Ty, Jamari, that's on you guys. I'm not dealing with that anymore. I'm just focused on football. But those guys have, they've taken it by the horns and they're ready to go.
Okay, Camlin Hardin, a true freshman last year, is able to come in and play immediately for you. When you evaluate a true freshman year and then start to look at what is next for a guy, what were some of the challenges that you presented with him?
Well, it was great for Cam because he got to play a lot of ball last year. Obviously got hurt and then had to come back. But, during that adversity, he was still trying to push through, still practicing, trying to get out there. And he's a really tough kid. And, we mentioned those three seniors, but Cam is a starter on this defense too. Mm-hmm. He's a starter on this defense too, and we expect him to play well this year. And, the athleticism that he has, his play temperament, how physical he is, those type of things, it's easy to coach a guy like that. And, he's a guy right now who's just figuring out college life, academics and social and, and football. And he's doing a great job, and you can see the maturation that he's had this spring. And, he knows him and Jamari. He competes with Jamari every day. They compete in the weight room. They yap back and forth, but it's all love. But Cam is definitely a guy. He's a starter. He's playing at a starter level. If I could play 6 guys, I would love to. But that's the great thing about our room. But Cam is definitely a guy who's showing these young guys, like, hey, if you come in and do it the right way and your mind is right and you follow the program the right way, you can come in and play right away. And I'm just happy with the strides that he's taken.
Elijah Judy was a big piece to this defense again. Last year he got hurt at the end of the season, but how much can he take another step and provide even more for this defense?
I am so proud of Elijah Judy because when he got here, he was going through some things personally that was holding him back on the field, and his life is finally together. He has a beautiful son, beautiful family. They're always here. They're at practice, and seeing him come to work every day with a smile is way different than what he was last year. And he's a guy that just brightens up the room. His personality's coming out, and he's playing the best football he's ever played right now. In the spring was going out there. He was a black shirt during mat drill, so he's a guy who's took a lot of steps forward. And I expect him to take, be one of the guys that's pushing to be a starter this year as well. So, and I've said in the past we need 8, 9 guys that play like starters, and Elijah is one of those guys, so I'm looking forward to seeing him take those steps this year.
Riley Van Poppel was another guy that was a true freshman last year that came in and provided you some depth. How impressed were you with him and the way he continued to progress, and what step can he take?
Riley is just, Ty Robinson's leaving, and we won't miss a step because Riley's right there. He does everything Ty does. He pushes Ty. He wants to outwork Ty, and it's, we kind of give them a hard time because, we always say, well, if Ty's going to do it, then Riley will do it. So, but he's been doing a great job. He's starting to take leadership of that next wave of guys. He's doing a great job in the weight room. He's always taking his nutrition and his football and his approach to his everyday very seriously. Has a great family. His dad, is a baseball player. He's a pretty serious dude. So Riley definitely, has the perfect upbringing for a guy who's going to come into a blue-collar program and do it the right way. And I'm just excited to see where he goes this year. And, last year he was more of a situational guy, and, he's going to have a bigger load this year of things that he has to, go out there and do. So I'm excited to see what he does.
Okay, the SackMan, James Williams,
oh, man.
he provided some fireworks for you guys. I just chatted with him. He's a fantastic interview, and he said he wanted to be more than just basically a one-trick pony. He wanted to be able to play every down for you guys. What kind of progress have you seen him make other than just a guy that can get to the quarterback?
Well, it's funny you use the word fireworks. That's exactly what James is. So every single day, he challenges me to be a great coach, and, he's just a special guy. Had a different road to Nebraska than most, came to a camp and, had to start the next week. But James every day is trying to do the right things, pushing to compete. One of the toughest guys in the weight room, competing-wise right now. And, that was his challenge this year was, okay, not just being a third down guy, being a guy that can go out there and play every down. And his body has changed. He's put on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, and he's just doing the right things right now. And life is starting to slow down for a little bit. He's getting comfortable, and last year he was shy, not really hanging out with the guys, but now he's a guy that the guys look for. So James is doing a great job, and I expect big things from SackMan this year on first and second down as well. So
he made sure to point out that you're the one that gave him that nickname.
For sure.
You give everybody nicknames, right?
Yeah, that's what I do. And it brings the group together, and it pushes them every day. So him being labeled as SackMan, he knows, like, okay, third down, everyone's looking at me, so he got to get the job done. So it's great.
That's awesome. Vincent Jackson, I know that a guy that's really special to you. He redshirted last year. I know traveled at the end of the year. How ready is he to take another step and maybe get out on the field a little bit more? He's
another guy like Riley that has taken, that leadership role with that next, wave of guys on the team. And this offseason has been great for him. He's a guy who, is a powerful guy, but wanted him to work on his flexibility and those things. So as a group, the D-line, we do yoga every Friday, and he's a guy who's doing the extra things, going into the weight room, doing extra yoga, doing those things so, that he can, be the best player that he can be. And he's doing all the right things right now, struggled academically in high school, and now he's a 3.0 student. So he's a guy that's figured it out, very mature. I'm expecting him to come in and, like I said, be one of those guys that's pushing the starters. When Nash comes out the game, he's the guy right away that goes in and can be, have the same impact. So as a group right now, all those guys are developing. And Vincent, I'm very proud of him just because of where he comes from, the things, the adversity that he had to go through. And, he took a shot on us, coming all the way from Pennsylvania, all the way to Nebraska and putting his trust into me. And, he's probably the guy I have the closest relationship within the group just because we had a similar upbringing and, being the oldest sibling of many and, having a lot of things that we had to overcome. And I'm just very proud of him as a man before being a football player, and that has carried over onto the football field.
Oh, that's incredible. You had mentioned yoga, huh? Who of your group would most likely be a yoga instructor?
Camlin Hardin.
Really?
So the D-line, when we first went to yoga at Lotus, Nash's girlfriend actually, works there. So we all went. And everyone showed up, but Cam actually already had a yoga mat. So I said, okay, he's a yoga guy. So, it's been great. And, I actually do it too. And it sucks, but, it's been good for me. So. You
ever tried hot yoga?
No, they've been trying to get me to do it. But when I have some time to do it, I'll do it. But right now, my excuse is that we're recruiting. So, I'll find time to do it. And like I said, regular yoga is tough as it is. So. Hot yoga is going to kick my butt.
Okay, let's get back on track here. SuLun seemed to be a guy that made a lot of plays for you guys throughout the spring. How big was he throughout the spring?
Yeah, SuLun has taken the biggest jump on the field. A guy that I challenged a lot this offseason. A guy who, as a freshman, I thought could come in right away because he's very dynamic, has the same skill set as like Elijah Judy, and played a little bit as a freshman to get a good feel. And the beautiful thing about the 4-game thing and still redshirting is they can get a great feel and know, like, okay, I got to get stronger. I got to, do these things to get better. And SuLun got a, good taste of that his freshman year, and now he took a big leap, this off season and this spring, and he's just changed his body, something I challenged him to do. He's doing well academically, has always done well with that, but his personality is starting to show in the room. He's probably the quietest guy. Well, now it's Ashton Murphy, but he's probably the quietest guy, but now he's, starting to, feel comfortable in the room. His personality's coming out.
I love that. AJ Rollins is a guy that you guys moved from offense into your room, and he got some action last year, but how has he continued to progress and feel comfortable in that role?
AJ, I love AJ. He's getting stronger. He's starting to be more comfortable in his role as a DN because he played tight end, played DN, went back to tight end, came back to DN, so he's found a home in our room, and he's a guy that you can play anywhere. It's kind of like Jamari. And, he's following Jamari and watching the things that he's doing. And he's starting to get comfortable with being a full-time defensive lineman. And, he's fast, he's strong, he's athletic, played basketball in high school, so he's light on his feet. So, it's just a lot of depth in our room, and a lot of guys going to be playing this year. And AJ, I'm looking forward to seeing him get on the field more this year and definitely be an impact.
Another guy, too, Kai Wallen, that's returned in for you. What kind of step can he take? How much depth can he help continue to provide for you guys?
Yes, Kai's a dynamic player as well, and, he's naturally a good pass rusher. Working with him right now, being a good run stopper and playing the run. Naturally just an edge guy, so, the challenges with him is, being versatile enough to play inside and doing those things, but he's 252 pounds now. He's accepted it, and his mind is right, and he's challenging himself every day. He's a guy I got to push, and a lot of young guys are the same way. They want feedback, they want to know how they're doing, and he's a guy that every single day is trying to figure out what he can do to get better, and probably text me the most and call me the most, like, hey, Coach, how did I do on this rep? Coach, how can I be better on this rep? So Kai's a professional, and he has dreams of being one of the best pass rushers and best football players in the country, and he's taking that approach.
Brody Tagaloa was the guy that had an accident last year. I know was injured. How is he doing? How did he progress coming off of that?
Brody is progressing. He's progressing, and before he had the accident, he was a guy that flashed in the spring and was making plays, and just something about those poly guys, man. They just go out there and play with a different attitude, a different violent mindset, and he fit our room, and he brings an edge to our room. Of a guy who don't take nothing from nobody when he's out there on that field. So he's doing everything he has to do, taking care of his body, rehabbing, trying to get extra rehab, and, making sure he's staying in the playbook so that when he does return that he doesn't, miss a step and could just hop on the bus and keep it going. So I'm happy for him, and I just want him to, hope, have a healthy season and come back stronger.
Okay, let's talk about the jack position, right? That's
Right.
what we're calling a jack position. Starting with MJ Sherman, seems like he's really taking a lot of pride in taking another step and wanting to be an even bigger impact for this team.
Well, MJ is the oldest guy in that room because after him it's a bunch of young guys. So he's showing those guys how to work, and obviously coming from a winning program, he knows what it looks like. And him being the older guy, and we expect him to go out there and dominate this year. He's been tremendous. He's leading those younger guys. He's leading by example. He's vocal. He pushes the D-line. Him and Ty have a really close relationship, so him and Ty push each other. And it's always good when the seniors push each other, right? And they have a standard that they have and that they want to go out with. So MJ's doing a great job, and he's a mature man. His life is together. He goes about it the right way. He's a true professional, and I'm excited to see what he does.
Princewell, Uman Manelle, and another true freshman that really was a big contributor for you guys last year. What kind of step can he take? How much more can he grow going into his second year?
Well, just like Cam was last year, was a young guy, and trying to figure out his role and how successful he can be on the field. So he's doing all the things he needs to do. And like I said, the leadership right now with our senior group is tremendous. So it might sound like I'm saying the same thing about everybody, but those guys have just been doing a great job. And Princewell is obviously the guy with how dynamic he is. We're expecting him to be one of those game-changing guys off the edge. And with his versatility, be able to drop and pass rush and, play the run and slip blocks and those type of things, we're expecting big, big things out of him where, he should be one of the better guys in the conference as a young guy.
What does it take to get there for him, for Princewell?
Just taking it a day at a time. Mm-hmm. Taking it a day at a time, focusing on the process, and, we'll rest at the end. And right now he's just focused on being on time to breakfast, being at his lift, getting stronger, getting in his playbook, getting in the film room, going out doing field work, and taking it one day at a time and just trusting the process, taking the coaching, and just doing what he has to do and just not focusing on the end, not worrying about the first game. Right now we're just focusing on being the best we can on Thursday.
Maverick Newman is a guy that during fall camp we heard a lot of good things about. Unfortunately had the season-ending injury, but how has he come off of that and I guess getting back healthy? Is he a guy that, again, can maybe provide some help for you guys?
He's a tough kid, and he pushed his rehab, was doing extra. Obviously his dad, played in the NFL, and he has that support at home about how to handle his business, take care of his body. And I was surprised by how quick he came back and how strong he came back. And, he's not wearing a knee brace. He's doing everything. He's not timid. He's playing really hard. He's working out really hard. And he's a guy that just comes in and work. Every time I see him, he just smiles. He doesn't say anything, but he just comes in and work every single day. And the depth that they have with that group, you got those three guys that we just talked about, they all bring something different to the group. So, I'm excited to see Maverick get on the field this year. And obviously, his dad's name, being on the stadium, he has his own chip on his shoulder and wants to create his own path. So looking forward to see what he does.
You talked about having 8-9 guys, and that's something, too, that a lot of your players have said, too, but having so many guys that could go start and be the star at a lot of different programs, how do you balance that and getting guys to buy into, hey, it takes a lot of us, and it's going to take a group of us to be able to get done what we want to get done?
Right. I think it's the transparency. I think, when Coach Rule says it, and then Tony White says it, and I say it, and then, it shows on the field, right? And, I always talk about those guys, like the great D-lines that I've played with, and that, over the, history of time of football, it's always been, a group of like 8-9 guys, and you're just attacking waves, right? It's never been about one guy, So I just talk to those guys all the time about, just attacking offenses as a group, everyone being dynamic, having their own skill set. And, with team success comes individual success. So those guys right now are, they're sacrificing, their personal wants and needs for the sake of the team, and it's going to take us to levels that they want to get to.
I know you have some young guys, too, some new additions as well. What goes into for them to maybe be able to come in and also step in and play right away?
Right. Keona Davis coming in, Ashton Murphy, those young guys. they're doing a great job. Right now, like I said, they're the quiet guys. They're just watching, seeing how to work, but they're tough kids, right? They come from great families, and Ashton Murphy being a local kid, he has a different pride about himself, about the program, and wearing that end. And, Keona, another Poly kid, just coming in and bringing attitude and toughness to the room. So I'm excited about those young guys, and they're pushing those older guys. And as an older guy, you always watch to see, like, okay, how good is this freshman, right? But those guys are going to be really good players, and they're pushing the room. And, I have a good problem this year where I got so many guys that can play. But, I'm looking forward to those guys, coming in the fall camp and being ready to go.
Another thing a lot of your guys have mentioned is getting to the quarterback and that being a big goal, big emphasis. How does that happen? How does that translate to Saturdays?
Working on it every day, watching film every day, taking it one step at a time, believing in the coaching, right? And it's more than just going out there doing a pass rush move. It's understanding your rush lanes. It's understanding where the guy next to you is supposed to be, and just working together. And we work on that every single day. And we have a cohesive group, and not only do we want to get to the quarterback, we want to get the ball off the quarterback and make game-changing plays, and get the ball into our offensive hands. And right now our guys are really focused on that. And I think for them it's something that they can easily measure. You know what I mean? And I'm excited that they're pushing it. They're pushing the group. They're pushing the defense. And right now they're taking the expectations of what I set for the room, and they're exceeding them. So, that's when you have a good group.
Last thing, just with Tony Whiten, again, going to year number 2 for you guys all being together, has it been like growing with him, working with him, that relationship, and just the expectations that you guys have going into this year?
One thing I love about Tony, he's the same guy every day. Love working for him. He's great with the players. He has a great personality. It shows when, we get into football environments. Last year I had no idea what was going on, what type of defense we were going to run. And, just learning from him has been a blessing. A great guy to be around, one of the best guys I've been around. As far as just watching how he goes about his everyday preparation, how he prepares for practice, how he prepares for recruiting, how he prepares for the game. And, just have the utmost respect for him, and definitely a guy that, I'm going to take a lot from and learn a lot from, and try to figure out, what goes on in his mind, because he doesn't share it a lot. But he's just one of those even kill guys that, always going to find a way to get the job done, and, a guy I respect highly.
Terrance Knighton, great stuff. As always, thank you so much for your time, and cannot wait to see what Death Row does under you in year number 2.
Yes, thank you.